Distinguished members of the Academy, my name is Golfhouse, and welcome to the first episode of a new Let's Play series on a multiplayer server. Yay! Guys, I'm really excited about this. We've been waiting to do this kind of thing for an incredibly long time. Let me get my perspectives back going here. We are in a brand new world on a fairly new server. This is the Mostly Harmless server, and it is a collection of friends of mine that have gotten together to do a little bit of Minecrafting. We are in the 1.8 release, as you can tell by the bunny and the funny looking rocks all over the place. And as you can see, we've been doing a little bit of work already, but I didn't want to get too far into this before I started recording, so there isn't a whole lot to see, at least not yet. One of the things that I liked about this particular seed is that we spawn in kind of right down there in the valley between these hills, which was a pretty scenic area. And we've gone ahead and done a little bit of work. I've started on a little bit of a natural path here. This is far from done. I don't like the way that this path is looking just yet. I think it needs a little bit more. And this is my first time kind of doing this sort of thing. Usually when I build roads, I mean like good roads with, slabs all the way across and elevation changes. This is my first crack at something a little bit more pastoral, a little bit more country village-like, and it's a learning process for me. But we're getting started with it. We're using some of the new blocks available, like the coarse dirt and all of these weird stone variants that are cluttering up the inventory. And if we come up here, we'll see a little bit of the community projects that are going on. As of right now, there are 6 members of the Mostly Harmless server. 3 of us are YouTube content creators. The other 3 are not. At least not yet. And in the meantime, while we're trying to convince them to do videos, the other 3 members, including myself, have already started to do our recording. This is one of our very first little community farms here. It's not that big of a farm, but it doesn't need to be yet. It's a starter farm. This is our little mine area back here. There isn't a whole lot to show off down here quite yet. It's basically going down. This goes down to a cave. This one hasn't been fleshed out yet. This one, if you go down far enough, will take you down to Y11. As you can hear by the clattering of bones and the occasional moaning of a zombie, there are some cave systems fairly close to the surface up here somewhere. I keep hearing them. There's the noises. I haven't quite found them yet, but at some point we're going to have to excavate that because those sounds are really annoying. Over here is one of our other server members. This is Babylon Slim. He's actually the owner of the server, and this is his little place. I'm not going to show off too much about it yet because he's just started, and I'm sure we're going to see a lot more in the days ahead. Now, there is one thing going on in this world that you've probably noticed in the background. We have a world border. Our world border is currently set to 200 blocks in each direction from the spawn point, so it's a 400 by 400 block area. We're going to keep this border in place for a few days, give everybody an opportunity to have a look around this area, maybe get their spawn village starter houses going. And once we've done that, then we're going to start expanding the border. And I think we're going to expand the border by 1 block an hour, so 24 blocks a day. And I think by doing that, we'll expand fast enough that we get access to new areas and new materials, but not so fast that we all just spread out in different directions and never see each other again. All of these members of the server have started their spawn houses, but there's one very important member of the server who has not, and that person is me. So I've staked a little bit of a claim over here. I have decided to carve out a little bit of land just outside the spawn area. I've flattened out the land and kind of taken out some of the dirt, so I have a nice little flat place. And I think this is where I'm going to build my base. You see, this is the future home of me, and I am a friend to sheep everywhere. You probably didn't know this too much about me from the Skyblock series because they don't play a huge role in the Skyblock world, but I have a rather definitive rule against killing sheep because, well, let's face it, they're sheep. Who can possibly hurt that face? Certainly not this guy. So that's made it a little bit tough for us to eat because that means that we do not avail ourselves of mutton as it becomes available. So we've been relying on bread and the occasional zombie flesh to keep ourselves fed, at least until we can get something like a cow farm or a pig farm going, because seriously, who cares about them? Anyway, this is going to be where our home is. I had been growing some trees. You can see this is my lumber area. So I had been planting some trees to gather some materials. We've got a little bit. We've got some spruce wood, we've got some oak wood. There's also some birch over there in the forest that I'm going to cut down and start taking advantage of too. And for this house, I want to do something a little different than what I've done in the past. I don't know what you're like as a builder, but as me, I tend to build this big house above ground, dig myself out a little bit of a basement to put all of my chests and all of my stuff in, and then I spend all my time in the basement. That's not really what I'm trying to accomplish here. So I have made a commitment to myself to not really go underground here at this house very much. I want to keep everything up here in the sun, in the sky, well, not in the sky, but where we can see the sky, and not dig a bunch of underground basementy areas where I then spend all of my time. That sound, of course, means that there's probably something down there anyway if I go digging too hard. So we may have to go down there eventually just to make sure that there's no monster spawning areas to annoy us while we're trying to sleep. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to clear out the rest of this little bit here, and then we're going to go ahead and start working on our spawn house. Okay, so I think I've got the basic kind of footprint of my house laid out here. I'm going to go ahead and put in the floor. I've decided to go with spruce wood just because it's not a material that I've done a whole lot of work with in the past, and I thought it might be interesting to try something a little bit different. Those noises are fairly loud. Let's go turn the blocks down. There we go. How's that? That's a little bit better. Actually, I'm going to take those down a little bit more. Much better. Yeah, that's what we like. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and put this floor in, and then we're going to look at how we want to do the walls. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to do. I'm running out of wood here. There's a couple of things that I want to do with the walls. I want to be able to take advantage of some of the new blocks, some of these new andesite, diorite, granite. I don't even know if granite is a word. The granite, all of that stuff. I'd also kind of like to get into the new craftable stone bricks, the cracked and the mossy stone bricks, as well as the mossy cobblestone. But in order to do the mossy stuff, we have to have vines, and we don't have any vines yet because we don't have a jungle or a swamp biome nearby, or at least not within the border. We do have a swamp over there. We have a jungle over there, but they're on the wrong side of the border for us now. So we're going to have to wait on the mossy variants, but we can still do some of the other new things, and I think I'm going to do that as soon as I make some more wood for the floor. Okay, so here is where the house is so far. I've gone ahead and I've used the andesite as kind of our pillars. I think this andesite, not necessarily the polished version, but just the regular version, is probably my favorite new block out of the bunch. I just like the way that texture looks. We also have gone ahead and put spruce logs around the side here. I've also been working on some accents on the corners. I kind of like this fence idea here, but I don't think the birch is the way I really want to go with it. I don't think that color matches very well. Let's try the spruce. Yeah, that's a lot better. So over here is where the door is going to be, so I guess you won't really see the corners too much over here, but as you're coming in from the spawn area, you will see that, and I think that adds a nice little accent here. So in order to carry this kind of design around the house, I'm going to need to get myself a hold of some more spruce logs. So let me go do that, and we'll get the basic frame of this thing finished. Okay, so we've made a little bit of progress on the house. We now have our logs going all the way around. Laura Ellen is online doing a little bit of work as well. We haven't built out this little side room yet. I haven't quite decided if this is going to be like a closet with a bunch of chests, or this is actually going to be where our bed goes. I think that's going to be where the bed goes, and we'll put chests out here, kind of like I've got here in the floor. Although I do need to kind of go in and replace those with some nicer things. Let's see if we can squeeze that in there. Yeah, that'll look a lot better. So I'll do that here in a little bit. But we've got our logs up. We've got kind of pillars in place. I need to smelt up some sand for some glass so we can put some window panes in there. I've also started on the first layer of the roof. I'm going to go with slabs all the way up to the top, and then here on the corners I'm going to switch out the oak for spruce to give it a little bit of definition. I also used birch doors here, and just like with the fences, now that the birch door is there, I'm not so sure that I like it very much. I think the bright color doesn't contrast very well with the dark wood and with this andesite, so I think we're going to be changing that up too at some point. But for the time being, at least, it's okay. I don't know why it won't let me pick up that dirt. Must be glitching out. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and keep collecting my spruce logs so we can get the rest of this side done, and then we'll get started on the roof. Hi. Thanks. Okay guys, I think we are just about done with our starter house. Yay! It's not the best thing that I've ever done. I've certainly built bigger and probably better houses than this, but this'll do. The birch doors have grown on me. I still don't know if I'm going to keep them, but I think I would like them better than the spruce doors that kind of look all castle-y. That's probably a little too grandiose for our little spawn house here. But you can see I've gone ahead and I've pressure plated the backs of this door. Still have to fix up this door a little bit, get rid of that grass, put a plate down. We've also got our chests, our fern eye, and a crafting table. And we've gone ahead and we've brought in the fence accents from the outside and done that on the inside as well. I've gone ahead and made this my little bedroom. We'll decorate this with bookshelves and things like that a little bit later, but sugarcane is a bit of a rarity right now. It seems we may have used it all. You see I've got some enchanted gear here. It appears that one of the other server members may have used up all of the sugarcane that's available to us right now, making the enchanting table. So we're probably going to have to wait until the world border expands to get some more. But for now, no big deal. So as you can see, I've got the kind of vaulted ceiling here. We're going to open up the nether probably in the next week or so, and when I get my hands on some glowstone, I'm going to put glowstone right up there in the track, and that is going to make this thing just absolutely pop at night. That roof is just going to glow like a beacon without any of the effects of the beacon. Anyway, you might notice I've also upgraded my texture pack so the andesite actually looks like the rest of the stuff does as far as resolution goes, and I think that's great. I really like the way that the andesite looks in the Faithful texture pack. I just wish you could get slab and stair versions of these new types of stone. That would be awesome, maybe in the next version. You saw that I also went ahead and put a little path down. The path is growing on me too. I still think I need to flesh it out a little bit, get some of the grass out and put a little bit more of this other material here. I'm probably going to work on some stone bricks to kind of flesh this out the rest of the way. But yeah, I think that our little home looks pretty nice. While we've been busy working on our spawn house, the rest of the members of the Mostly Harmless server have been doing some things of their own. You can see there's a staircase leading up to a base carved out of the mountain. There's a really neat house over there. There's even a little fishing slash diving slash something deck over there by the lakes. We're not going to go and look at those just yet because most of these people are making videos themselves. I encourage you to go check them out. In fact, I implore you to go check them out because they're even cooler than me. Not that that's terribly hard. Anyway, in the next episode we're going to work on spawn development a little bit more, clear out some of this grass here, do a little bit of terraforming, and yeah, start to really make this area pop. We're also going to think about what our first big project is going to be and start figuring out how to gather resources for that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I hope you'll join me. If you liked this video, you'll probably like the other videos in this series and by these other members as well, so go ahead and check them out. And as the sun sets on the Mostly Harmless server, my name is Golfhouse. This has been Mostly Harmless. It's an honor just to be nominated.